Hey guys, Sam here. Today's December the 15th, 2018. Man, half the month already gone and I'm still haven't finished this transmission. Anyways, I plan to wrap it up this weekend on this thing. Where I had left off was that I was putting in my servo piston in there, and turned out that I had lost that little clip there. So I picked one up on online, and it came in Friday. So I've got that clip on there with this piston rod here, and the springs are in there. So I'm going to go ahead and finish installing this, and then continue on putting the band. The band is in there already. I just got to put this in there, and then the clips that go in there, or whatever you call them. I'm not sure exactly. These things in here that hold that band, put tension on that band. So I'm gonna get that ready and put that in there, and hopefully finish this thing today, put it all together and be done with it, and hopefully it'll work. So let me get set up, and as I get things done, I'll bring you along. Alright. Well guys, I feel pretty stupid now. I found my clip. This is the clip that I was looking for last weekend when I was putting that servo piston in. I had bagged it up with my bag that says front pump bolts and servo bolts, and the clip was inside here. And I was pretty sure last weekend I searched in this bag, and I thought I dumped everything out of the bag, the bolts and everything, and sure enough it was in there. So now I have an extra one. Alright guys, let me get this back together. Alright guys, got the front pump installed, got all the bolts torqued in there. I think it's 15 foot-pounds. In the process of trying to put the rear pump in, but you got to get this little bitty pin. It's called a drive pin, and it'll go in this hole here. And I'm surprised I didn't lose this pin. I had it in that one of those baggies in there, but it's really tiny pin. So we're gonna go ahead and put that pin in here, in that hole, and then the rear pump goes in there, and then you got to guide the gears. Has a little notch keyway in there that you got to go over with this drive pin, and I'm guessing that'll drive the gears on that pump. Alright, as soon as I get that put on, I'll bring you guys back. Continuing on with this Powerglide, I've got the rear pump installed. I think that's where I had left off, and so I've got that drive pin that goes in there, and the gears, everything. I just hadn't torqued down this pump. And then I started to work on the valve body, and I've got it pretty much where I can set it on here, but I was not getting this parking brawl, I think they call it. I was not getting this quite right. I didn't have it in the correct position for it to work the lever here. So I finally figured out I had to take this apart again, figure out where this actually goes up almost inside there. There's almost like a notch that this rides in, and I didn't even have that in place. I had it laying down inside the transmission basically. So I got the spring in there attached to it. I got these bolts torqued down, so this thing's working right now, where it'll pull in the whatever they call that deal that goes inside the valve body. When I get this on, I'll show that. So I'm pretty much ready to get that installed. See what else was on left. I think that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and get the valve body ready to go ahead and install it on here, and I'll bring you guys back. Alright, got the valve body down in here with the servo tube, and got it in this position where the shifter will work. I still haven't set the spring, so I just gotta get this bolt in with the little attachment piece that goes here and hook that spring onto it. And I don't have everything torqued down, just got it hand tight. You got to make sure when you're putting this valve body in, got to make sure it's sitting level here when you're putting in this tube, because it has a tendency to, you think you're there, but then you look down here and you got a little bit of a gap, so kind of got to wiggle it in there till this tube sets inside the hole. Then this will set flat on the mounting points of the transmission case. So I've got that done. I've got to torque these bolts that connect the two pieces of valve body, and then torque these that bolt it down to the case. And like I said, that spring. So let me get that done and I'll bring you guys back. Well, also this shifter here, you have to make sure that it is hitting that right there. Alright, bring you guys back in a minute. Alright guys, I've got to probably go look at my pictures that I took, because I cannot figure out where this little thing goes. I know I took it off back here, but I've tried to figure out how it goes. I cannot. And it doesn't show it in the book. I've looked through the book that I have, and shows all the rear pump parts, the bolts, the gears, the seal, everything, but it doesn't show this piece. But I know I took it off of here somewhere. Also, I put this piece in. I had forgot about this. I had it bagged up. This is just a guide to keep that in place for the ship when you shift. And I think that's it. As soon as I figure out where this goes, I'm pretty much done with it, putting it back together, other than I'm going to go ahead and take the governor and take it apart. I've kind of cleaned up the outside a little bit on it. And I'm going to go ahead and take this apart, clean it up. There's a gasket goes in here. I've got the gaskets here. But yeah, here's the, let me see if I can show this. It talks about it when you take off. It's called a drain back. Drain back something. Anyways, here's the front pump. So it's showing that steel plate that goes there, the gears. Here's the governor. Here's the front pump itself. I mean the rear pump, I'm sorry. 34 is, see, speedometer drive gear. So from this point forward, here's the bolts showing for the rear pump, but nowhere does it show this thing. But it does talk about it when you remove the rear pump. It's a drain back. It's a drain back baffle. And like I said, I know I took it off of there somewhere. So I'm gonna have to review my pictures real quick. In the meantime, I'm also gonna clean this governor up, and that pretty much completes the build. Next step is I'm going to get it back on that engine stand, and then I'm going to paint it. Alright, so I'll bring you guys back. Alright guys, I've got the governor cleaned up and I got it installed. I don't like the way it went in. I could have swore that when I took this governor out, I pretty much maybe tapped it out and then it slid on out, but when I was putting it in, it only went in about right here, and then I kind of had to keep tapping it to go in. And then, I mean, I cleaned it up and everything, and after I cleaned it up, it seems like it made it worse as far as this thing working. As you turn the, well, take it in gear. As you turn the shaft that's supposed to drop, which it does, and then it drops down. You can hear it when you come back around. It drops back down. So it's working good there, but when you lube it up with transmission fluid, then it sticks. I mean, it's gonna get lubed up with trans fluid, I would think, because what I did, it was sticking earlier, and then I went ahead and just kind of squirted some transmission fluid in there, just like that. When I do that, well, it dropped there. See? There, it didn't drop. So I don't know what the deal is. You have to force it down. But I know when I took it apart, when I turned the shaft, it was working freely. You could hear it drop down every time you made the turn. That worked there. Well, it worked there. So yeah, it's working now. So I don't know what the deal is. Maybe it just needs to be. I mean, but I took it after it was sticking worse than this, I took it apart again, cleaned it up, took some emery cloth around the inside of here, and then around that little piston thing that's going up and down. Did that several times, and then I guess I finally got it. But to me, it's just not working. See, it sticks there again. It's just not working as freely as it should. And if you hit it, it goes down. At first, I thought, which might have been the case, was that I thought I egg-shaped this right here. Because when I was tapping on it, of course I wasn't tapping hard, I was using my brass hammer, and I was tapping right in this area and then down to get it in. And then I noticed that maybe I was tapping too hard there, so I got a block of wood and put it here, and then tapped it in, alternate, changing each direction, so I didn't tap on this end anymore. So at first I thought I egg-shaped it, but I don't think that was the case, because I took it all apart, cleaned it again, and it seems like it's working now, but it still sticks. Like right there, it didn't drop all the way down. There it went. See, it stays up unless you bang it. But if you don't put no transmission fluid in there, it works just fine. So see, it's sticking again. So it's stuck down at the bottom. There, it dropped. So maybe that's all it needs to do. I mean, I don't know what else to do. I've taken it apart several times, like I said, at least 3 times, and cleaned it, emery cloth, put it back together. It works fine. As soon as you squirt some fluid in there to lube it, then it starts to act up like it's doing now. I don't know. So as far as that, I mean, pretty much I'm done. I may work on that governor a little bit more. And I got a few comments from the last vid that bushing went in that tail housing. Well, yeah, y'all are right. I hadn't gotten to the point where I had started cleaning this housing until just now, but when I read my comments last night, that made sense that went in there. And sure enough, after I got this seal out, then there's that, and I've got this thing pretty much cleaned. Needs a little bit more, but it's cleaner than what it was. So I've got to get this bushing out and then get the new one in there and then put this seal, clean up this housing a little bit better, and call it good. Everything's back together on it. Seems to be working. My shift here, that should be park, should lock, and it's locked. Reverse or whatever gear that is. Shaft turns, drive, turning, and then one more turns, and then if you go back all the way to park, it should lock. It's locked. Alright, I'm gonna call it quits for today, and I think that's it on the transmission build, unless any other problems arise. Alright, thanks for watching, guys, and thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you on the next one.